Do you find yourself reaching for that third cup of coffee just to make it through the afternoon? Or does your child seem constantly wired, but yet they're so exhausted they can't struggle at school and they're unable to wind down at night? You're not alone, parents. What you're experiencing is actually a cortisol addiction. This neurological dysfunction isn't affecting just children, it's becoming increasingly common in our children. This is a constant fight or flight state that has become the new normal, and it's wreaking havoc on our family's health and well being. The worst part is that many of the solutions that you're being offered, from ADHD medications for your child to that extra shot of espresso for yourself, are actually perpetuating the very cycle that you are trying to break. This video is for exhausted parents whose children struggle with focus, hyperactivity, anxiety, or even mood swings, especially if conventional care plans have not received or permitted lasting relief. If you're also a parent who themselves feel constantly drained, wired, dependent on these stimulants in our society just to get through the day, you're going to want to listen to more. We're going to reveal how modern society has trapped both children and parents into this chronic stress cycle. It's creating a literal addiction to stress hormones. You're going to learn how cortisol addiction masquerades as ADHD or anxiety, why medications often make the problem worse, and how the neurological approach that can help your whole family break free from this cycle. The statistics available are absolutely alarming. According to recent data, ADHD diagnosis in kids has nearly doubled in the last 20 years. This is huge because the prescription medications are following suit in this trend. This is not our genetics. This is not just lifestyle. There is something massively going on. Yet these medications never address the underlying neurological imbalance. In my practice, I constantly see families and parents, children, who are caught in this cycle. It's nonstop stress, and children are prescribed stimulants for their focus issues, while the parent just relies on caffeine, and it's creating a mirror image pattern of nervous system dysfunction. This connection becomes clear when we understand that many of these children experience some form of birth intervention or trauma, forceps, vacuum extraction, cesarean section, to name a few, which can even create the initial neurological imbalance that sets up cortisol addiction from the start. So let's talk about cortisol addiction and its connection to the autonomic nervous system. Cortisol addiction occurs when the body becomes dependent on stress hormones, things like cortisol or adrenaline, and it's used for energy, focus, and daily functioning. Now, it's not a clinical diagnosis, but a psychological state where the body has adapted to chronically elevated stress hormones. The autonomic nervous system, it has two main branches: the sympathetic nervous system, which is fight or flight, and the parasympathetic nervous system, which is rest, digest, and restore. These should work in balance, and the sympathetic activated for emergencies, and the parasympathetic predominant for healing and restoration. In cortisol addiction, the nervous system becomes stuck in a sympathetic dominant state, constantly pumping out these stress hormones. Over time, the body begins to require that these hormones are present, not just to function, but is creating a vicious cycle where the body is dependent on this particular environment. Now, it's important to understand how birth trauma sets up the stage for cortisol addiction. The way that children are born in our society, it's massively evolving from the original single-use opportunity with kids. Birth interventions like forceps, vacuum extraction, cesarean sections, and even induction medications can create a physical trauma to the delicate upper neck and brainstem of newborns. It causes a subluxation pattern, which is a misalignment, tension, and neurological interference in that nervous system. When subluxation occurs in these key areas, it directly impacts the vagus nerve and the autonomic function. And it often shifts a child immediately into a sympathetic dominance from the very beginning of life. This neurological imbalance can manifest initially as colic, reflux, sleep issues in infants, But as a child grows and gets larger, it oftentimes appears to be a focus issue, a hyperactivity, emotional dysregulation, and other behaviors that are commonly diagnosed by doctors as just ADHD or anxiety. You have to understand that these diagnoses are simply an accumulation of unique symptoms. The medication and even the diagnosis do nothing to get to the root cause of the problem. And if we're seeing a trend in children having this issue more and more, there has to be something agitating this delicate response. Now, if we look at our modern lifestyle factors that perpetuate the cycle, our modern environments are bombarded the developing nervous system with stimulation. Look at screens. They emit a blue light that triggers cortisol production. Processed foods spike and crash blood sugar. And the constant activity levels in our kids' schedule permits little time for parasympathetic recovery, which is important for them to recover and restore. Children with an already dysregulated nervous system are oftentimes seeking even more stimulation. They take on risk-taking behaviors, screen time, sugar, all as a way to get the dopamine and cortisol to hit their brain cravings. Parents, you're not off the hook because you mirror this pattern with caffeine dependency, busy schedules, and you have your own screen addictions yourself. This is what's creating a family-wide pattern of sympathetic dominance. Now, the medication trap that makes things even worse, it's far too obvious. When children display signs of parasympathetic dominance, they're oftentimes prescribed a stimulation medication like Adderall or Ritalin. Now, this temporarily boosts the focus and further activating the sympathetic nervous system, but the medications don't address the underlying neurological imbalance, and they actually reinforce it, potentially making the child even more dependent on sympathetic activation for basic functioning. You cannot medicate a child for a lifetime just because they're struggling to focus. And it's not just a behavioral issue. You have to look at a deeper, more opportunistic observation of what's happening. And parents are not realizing that they're caught in this same trap with caffeine. Sure, the kids are taking medications, but the parents hitting up Starbucks left and right. And the energy drinks and the constant stress, all of this keeps your own nervous system also in a sympathetic dominant state. Neurologically focused chiropractic care really does help break this cycle. Now, rather than masking the signs, neurologically focused chiropractic care addresses the root cause of cortisol addiction by identifying and correcting subluxations that interfere with proper autonomic function. We use the advanced technology like the Insight scans, which can detect where neurological imbalances exist, and we can develop a personalized care plan which is catered to personally help you restore proper function. Now, each specific adjustment helps to release stuck stress from the nervous system. It activates the parasympathetic branch of your nervous system, and it allows the body to shift out of this fight or flight and into a rest and restore mode naturally. That's huge. This is not based off of just medications. This is your body doing the healing. Now, if you're looking to break this cycle of cortisol addiction, it requires a comprehensive approach that addresses the real root neurological imbalance. At Maximize Chiropractic, I specialize in helping families reset their nervous systems naturally without relying on medications that only mask the symptoms, not to mention all the known side effects that come with these medications. Our approach here combines neurologically focused chiropractic care with practical lifestyle strategies that support parasympathetic activation. Things like improved sleep hygiene, reduced screen time, breathing techniques, time in nature, and nutritional support. But don't forget that the most important is to restore your neurological function. The nervous system is the most crucial part to support a healthy body. The Insight scans we use provide a clear window into your family's nervous system function. It allows us to develop a customized care plan that addresses your specific needs. meaning that your needs as a parent will be different than the needs of your children. Many parents tell us that they're amazed at how quickly both they and their children begin to feel more balanced, with improved focus, better sleep, and reduced dependency on stimulants. If you're looking to break free from this cortisol addiction cycle and help your whole family thrive naturally, click on the link in our bio to schedule a consultation and get your insight scans. During the initial visit, we're going to take time to truly listen to your family's story and journey, to conduct a thorough neurological analysis and determine if our approach is right for you. Don't let another day go by trapped in this vicious cycle. Take the first step towards a neurological balance and discover the true health opportunities that are available for you and your family. It feels great when your body is healthy and functioning properly and free of medication. We look forward to helping you.